How to file a personal injury claim for toxic exposure. So, toxic exposure injuries occur when a person comes into contact with harmful chemicals, pollutants, or other toxic substances. These injuries can result from workplace environments, environmental pollution, or the use of certain products. If you have been exposed to toxic substances that have caused you harm, you may be entitled to compensation through a personal injury claim. In this guide and video, we will explain the steps to file a personal injury claim for toxic exposure and what you need to know to protect your rights. So let's start it. First point is identify the source of toxic exposure. Before filing a claim, it's crucial to identify the source of the toxic exposure. Toxic substances can include chemicals, asbestos, pesticides, lead, industrial fumes, and hazardous waste. You may have been exposed to these toxins at your workplace, in your homes, or in public spaces. Common sources of toxic exposure including workplace, environmental pollution, and consumer products. To workplace, occupational exposure to chemicals, asbestos, or industrial fumes. Environmental pollutants like exposure to air, water, or soil contamination. Consumer products like the toxic found in products such as cleaning chemicals, food packaging, or cosmetics. So now the point number two is document your symptoms and medical history. So symptoms of toxic exposure can vary widely depending on the substance involved. These may include respiratory issues, skin irritation, headache, dizziness, and long-term conditions like cancer. To build a strong case, you must document your symptoms and seek medical attention as soon as possible. Your healthcare provider can help you identify whether your system or symptoms are linked to toxic exposure. Keep a detailed record of symptoms, medical visit, and work history. Symptom like list the symptoms you have experienced, and medical visit document all doctor visits, diagnosis, tests, and treatments. And work history is if your exposure occurred at work, gather information on your job duties and exposure to toxic substances. Now, the point number 33, establish the link between toxic exposure and injury. So, one of the biggest challenges in a toxic exposure claim proving that the exposure caused your injury. This requires demonstrating a clear connection between the substance and the health problems you are experiencing. Work closely with your doctor to establish this link through medical evidence, toxicologist reports, and workplace safety records. Medical evidence like your doctor can provide for testimony and medical records to show how the toxic exposure led to your injury or illness. Toxicologist reports. In some cases, toxicologists may be needed to assess the level of exposure and its potential impact on your health. Workplace safety records. If the exposure occurred at work, safety records from your employer may help show whether there were any violation or safety failures. Now, first point is gather evidence to support your claim. To support your personal injury claim, you will need solid evidence. This includes both physical and documentary evidence that can demonstrate the extent of your exposure and injury. Here's what you should gather: photos and records, and product labels and safety data sheets, and witness statement, and environmental reports. So, in the photos and records, take photos of the site or area where you are exposed, such as your workplace or the location of a spill, and product labels and safety data sheets if the exposure was related to a consumer product, if the product packaging or safety data sheets. Witness a statement. So this is very important. If there were others who witnessed the exposure or experienced similar issues, here a statement can be helpful. And the other is environmental report.